Since last time we've been saying that we're going to continue the discussion about the time travel, and it is one of the most important part that we are putting ourselves on the possibility, because we say that taking an example of the looking at a dimension of how objects are moving from space-time pure, it's also possible to think about the future, how the future it's possible for us to travel through it. So we see in the previous video that it's not possible to travel to the past because of the feedback. And we took an example of if the feedback, which is already coming from speakers, come back to the microphone will go off. If we now we suppose and we assume that somebody is going to make an action, and the action has to execute and to trigger another action to be as an effect. If the cause which is going to make the effect happen doesn't happen, is not also possible to make the effect happen before the cause. So the dual of cause and effect is making the paradox that is not possible for us to move from the present time and go back to the past. And this is the concept that has been the headache of all scientists, thinking about the possibility of the cure of the gravity of space-time in the general relativity concept. So now we are talking about how is it possible also now to make the travel to the future. Before we go into the travel to the future, we need to see what the meaning of time for us, what the meaning of object for us. If we look at those different kind of puzzles, we look at something called the wormhole. The wormhole is like a bridge, like a tunnel that can link two different kind of space-time locations. For example, I have here a location A and I have a location B, and those different places, they are not different in terms of space, but also different in terms of time also. How time is moving, because we already see together in the concept of the article in Seleaninews.com what the meaning of time in terms of definition. Time is not like before we used to think time as absolute. Time also is changing in the same way. The three dimensions, we see them changing as well. So we look at in a 4 dimensions. So we don't call about the space dimensions and the time dimension, but we call the space-time dimensions. So how it is possible to travel? When we look at the wormholes, which is the bridge, here we are living in a space that the space they have a speed A on their speed of light. I have B here, they have the speed of light, which is a speed B. So if suppose we have an engine that those people are living in a spacecraft, we have young children, they are living there, and their engine, the speed of their car or their aircraft is more speedy. In a way, it's reaching 9.99, it's mean 99.9 of the speed of light, celerity. And here on the Earth, which is the B, they have their normal speed of light. So time for us we are making our normal time. But for them, when they reach the speed of light, nearly the same, the time itself is very, very slow motion, in a way that things are happening in a very slow way. So in a short time, they can do a lot of things. So we will come back in the special relativity. We will find something called time dilatation and the compression of measures. For example, now when I have this object and we move it from one space-time to another space-time, that object will become very, very, very small. And when we move from place to another, the time is become more for them in a way that it's going in a slow motion. So time speed, it's making the time running slow motion. So let's say there is one person, that person already in the spacecraft, and for him, he count on his clock, he just spent 6 days, like 1 week, and then he say, let us go back on Earth. Okay, when an object is moving in the speed of light, let's say it's moving in 6 days around Earth, and the Earth is continuing its lifestyle, when the people who spend for them in their clock 6 days and they come back on Earth, they will, for them they spend already 6 days. When they come back, they will find on Earth we already spend 1 century. It's been 100 years. That is one of the secret of the travel to the future, that you will be disconnected from one location to another, and you evolve and you progress in your life, in your lifestyle. But whenever you come back, if it is also possible in a way of coming, you will come to the future of that place. So means you travel for you spend 1 week, and you travel to the future for the people who are on Earth, and you come back, you will find for them they already spend 100 years. Why? Because time is now moving in the same way for both locations. And that is the reason, in a theoretical way, time travel is possible in the future travel. So let me give you another example in order to make it very clear. When we take this remote control and we have A and B, and we move them in very far away locations, you will see for you like it's just a dot. Look at a boat on the sea, for example, far away boat. When you move, for you, when you are moving, for you, you will see the boat like it's following you. Because of what? Because it's far away from us. So when you live with somebody and the person, something is happening on him, like he become fat or become very thin, is very hard for you to know it. Why? Because you and him or and her, you are having the same effect of space-time. So the effect of space-time make the people on Earth be in the same boat. So, but something which is on the other side is have a freedom of what is happening on you. They will evolve in the same condition of a space-time for their side. And that's what make the anthropocentrism of the concept of space-time, that Albert Einstein brought it to the general relativity, because the concept of special relativity was coming to solve the problem that had been on the physics on the end of the early of the 20th century. So the space is not anymore the object that everything is evolving, so time has to be absolute. No. Time and space are forming what you call the space-time cure, that everything is evolving inside the time and space. The main concept that bring the special relativity to a more generalized way, it was only focused on the inertial points. It means the central points of every object, whereas Albert Einstein was talking that all different kind of changes that may happen, whether the object in a rest mode or in a moving mode or in a very emotional mode, there is one point which is keeping the same thing in terms of speed and in terms of consequences. So it's called the inertia. The inertial points, which was one of the result of Galileo, it was corroborated by Albert Einstein concept that is not only on that, but it can be also much more generalized, and the things around that spot points in object can be also generalized, and that what make the general relativity as a very, very welcome in the world of gravity, because you know the concept of gravity was done and studied by a lot of scientists, but how it was modifying the object and present of it, it was the concept of the general relativity. Means when I take a sponge and I push, for example, an object on it, the sponge will be having some kind of modification, will be modified by the presence of matter. So in the same way, if the matter is very very soft, the space is very, very, very hard. The space will modify the object. So the modifying approach, which is between matter and space, it's not defined on the classical view of physics. It was defined and well understood in the way of space-time, and the space-time was the only way to look at the universe, how the universe starts, because the special relativity, which is coming from the E equal mc square, was giving the transfer of energy of matter, and the other reverse side should be possible, was explaining how the universe started in the Big Bang, and how the universe's possibility to end up will come. And those are different kind of topic that we will going to take them together and give them in a very practical way in near future videos. We're going to go in deep on each and every one of that part and explain them together. We just want to tell you and inform you that the people who are speculating in all movies just look at the movie as just a game. But time travel to the past is not possible because of feedback, because of paradox, because of cause and effect. It means it cannot be effect without causality. So in the same direction, the cause and effect, because the cause of the future is in the present, it is possible for us to consider also that the future is the effect. So, but when you evolve in one area where space-time is different than another, the other area which the speed of their life is more high, the other area where the speed is very low, time here is going slow. In a way, it's running faster for them, so they spend a lot of time. And the time for them, the other side is going in a very low motion, and the things are happening in a very, very low, very small, and very short. So for them, they spend less time, and for us, we spend much more time. So when we meet again, we find we become older than them, and that is how things came to be known that time travel in the future is possible, and now we are thinking how this can be done, and people are thinking that it's possible to be done by building a very high accelerated engine that can bring the object in a very high speed. So movement will be slow motions, and we can have the experience of time travel. But it's very scary, because when we come back, we'll find that our relatives and families, if they are there, they become older. And that is the secret of special and general relativity, cake, that all around us and all the people are thinking that it's the only way that we can save the Earth disaster. Thank you very much, and meet and see you for next video.